it certainly is exciting stuff. We have found Thandi. No sign of the little cub yet, but I'm guessing that they've got a kill somewhere nearby, and she's just come here to quench her thirst. Her belly is looking quite full. How epic. I'd actually just got out to check for any tracks of her drinking around this waterhole, jumped into the vehicle and started driving, and there she was, heading straight towards the very place that we had just checked. What an absolute treat, and isn't this beautiful? The lighting is absolutely perfect, and I am happy to see you again, Thandi. It's been quite a while since I've seen you. I think the last time I saw you was the afternoon that Taylor continued the sighting, where she had an impala ram kill. There was no sign of the cub that afternoon. It was kind of hiding in the bushes, but that was the last time I've seen her, probably about a week ago. Beautiful. And I'm told a lot of you guys are celebrating. Woohoo! Well, that's great, because then it's not just Senzo and myself. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see what she gets up to next. Where are you going to take us? Are you going to take us back to wherever you've been feeding? Do you still have some of the kill remaining? Where's your young cub? Now, the reason why I don't think she's hunting is that her belly is quite full. Difficult to see while she's crouched down like this. But why wouldn't the cub come for a drink as well? Patrick, you've also noticed that she's got quite a full belly. Let's see when she starts walking. It'll be far more visible. Oh, no, you still want to quench your thirst. Magical. Well, we're getting spoiled rotten this morning, guys. Lions, leopards, elephants, all kinds of action unfolding. I really hope she takes us back to the cub, or the cub just comes bounding out of the bushes. Now, it's quite interesting. For those of you who weren't on the sunrise safari yesterday, you wouldn't know that there was actually another leopardess seen in this very same area that we're in now. And it wasn't positively identified. And there was a kind of, when Taxon, one of the guides, initially found it, he wasn't sure whether the leopard was nervous of the vehicle or whether it was simply kind of running after some kudu. So, or possibly a bit of both. Maybe it was both skittish and hunting the kudu. But it'll be very interesting to see who that could be, and I'm sure as the weeks and months go by, we will probably find out who it is. Trish, you would like to know if the cub is still nursing, would it need to drink water? Well, yes and no. I mean, the fact that I'm confident that they've been feeding on a kill means that there would have been kind of less of a need for mom to allow the cub to nurse, because it's getting lots of food from the meat. And in that case, yeah, I mean, I wonder if it didn't quench its thirst with a little bit of milk for dessert after whatever the kill was, a little milkshake. That could be the case. But it certainly does still need to drink water. I don't know if we've actually ever filmed it drinking water, the little cub. But it certainly would have and will be drinking water as and when. But I don't actually think we have documented that yet. But again, it's not to say it hasn't happened. Sure. You can probably hear her lapping it up very gently or very quietly. Not the most efficient way of drinking. I'm glad I don't have to drink like a leopard. Imagine trying to drink a beer like that. Out of a bowl. Not much fun. Very time consuming. Okay. Isn't this magical? Colbert, you would like to try and do a head count as to how many leopards we've actually seen now in the last 24 hours. Well, Tingana and Tumba yesterday afternoon. Who was in the morning? Did we have any leopards in the morning? I think Taylor had Ozana in the morning. So we're on 4. Yeah, so we're on 4. No sign of Hukumuri for a few days now. Oh, everyone, please have happy thoughts, because the area she's heading into is a bit of a nightmare with regards to off-roading. There's a whole network of little gullies and riverbeds which is going to make it very tricky to negotiate. So while we do that, it does look like she's heading back in the same direction she came from. So I'm hoping she is going to take us back to a kill. But we're going to send you back to Steve and the Lions while I try and focus on keeping an eye on her. That didn't last too long. And I guess you'll just have to watch out for the branches and squeeze tight, because this is going to get interesting. We've already had to move quite a distance from her because of the fact that there's a large section of kind of eroded riverbeds that we can't make our way through. But we're kind of traveling parallel to where she was moving. And I'm hoping she's going to pop out somewhere up ahead here. Very good. Well, while we negotiate the off-roading, we're going to send you... Oh, no, we're not going to... We don't need to send you anywhere just yet, because we've got very lucky here. Phew. Oh, she's calling the cub. She called the cub there. Listen carefully, she might do it again. She's going right behind the back of the vehicle. How cool is that? No, she did just call the cub. So that's good prospects. Hopefully it's not too far away after such a short space of time, because it's not easy to find them. What have you got in terms of a kill, and how far away is it from us, Thandi? I'm very excited to find out, and I'm also very excited to see that little cub. So she's kind of making her way down a bit of a game trail here. I'll try and stop just to... You can kind of see how she likes to stick to these kind of... You could call them secondary roads. She's called the cub again, which hopefully means it's not too far away. Michelle, you said, come on, baby cub. And we need more people to urge that same notion to come true. Not just you, Michelle, but everybody. We need everybody to have happy thoughts. Let's see if she doesn't do another call here. I think she's going to. There it is. She is calling again. Listen carefully. You can maybe faintly hear the calls. It's tricky because she's facing the wrong way, but you still can just pick up that faint. Oh. Oh. Very good. Now the good thing is that if she does reunite with the cub is going to be an absolute bundle of joy, and it's something that I think we should certainly share with as many people as possible. So we are going to welcome on board a whole bunch of extra people in the next minute or so. So you're going to have to squeeze up in your seats to make space for everyone. Just to warn you, try and get on one of the window seats. You don't want to be stuck in the middle. I'm quite surprised that she's not marching with more intent. It's almost kind of worrying me a little bit. Why aren't you just marching to where you know you left the cub? Okay, well, we're ready to welcome on board everyone, so I'm just going to keep quiet for a second. Hello everyone, and welcome on board this live safari. Take a close look at this leopard and listen carefully. She's trying to call her cub. She's got a young cub that's about 4.5 months old, and we've just found this leopard drinking at a small waterhole, and now it looks like she's trying to find out where her little cub is hiding. She obviously left it somewhere in this area. And we couldn't resist inviting you guys on board to enjoy what will be a wonderful, wonderful spectacle as Mom and the cub reunite. But I can hear some branches breaking, and I think there's actually an elephant in the area, so that might get in Mom's way. I haven't introduced myself yet. I'm Scott, and I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera. Please do communicate with us using the comment box below, and we will get back to as many of you as possible. I'm just going to try and get into a spot here. I don't think we're going to be able to see both her and the elephant in one shot, but I would just like to show you the elephant quickly. It's kind of crashing through the bushes over there. And Benoli, you saying, "Come out, little one." And I'm confident it is just a matter of time before we get to see this little cub. So exciting stuff. And we've been following the life of this leopard and her cub quite closely since the cub was born around mid-November last year. And it's been really, really fascinating to watch the rate at which this little cub is growing. Kelly, you just mentioned how beautiful this leopard called Thandi is, and she certainly is a fine specimen. Wait until you see how cute her little cub is. Now, as you can see, we are busy off-roading, so I'm trying to negotiate the easiest way through here. It might get a bit sticky at points, but I'm feeling confident we should be able to keep an eye on her until she gets back to the cub. Amy, you've mentioned that you were in South Africa last year and you said it was a life-changing trip. Well, that's exactly what we like to hear. And when you're planning your next safari, Amy, why don't you come and visit us here at Djuma? Oof. She's going into kind of an impenetrably thick block here. But let me stop for a second. We'll still be able to get you a few views of her. She's still calling the cub. Oh, she just stopped and picked up her head there. Maybe the cub is close. Ryan, you'd like to know if this young cub would possibly climb a tree to escape danger. Yes, it certainly would. It's going to be the cub's number one method of escaping harm. And on many occasions, in and around kills, which the mom could be leading us back to now, young leopards will be forced to climb up trees to escape predators like hyena and lion that can come in and try and steal from the leopard. Mom has stopped. She's just through there. Shashank, you would like to know if she uses scent to try and follow the trail of where her cub is. And yes, she might. She's just disappeared. She was in there. We're going to have to do a bit of a loop around here. It's getting a bit tricky. So yes, she will kind of use her nose to try and sniff out. Oh, she is still there. She is just stationary here, so maybe this is the area where she left the cub. Sometimes the cub can be a little bit rebellious. There you can see a few spots. Well done, Senzo. And that's got a little bit of a mind of its own. And I've actually been quite surprised that when Mom does call, the cub sometimes has a bit of a delayed response. Why aren't you listening to your mother, youngster? Maybe she's planning a playful ambush on her. She's probably creeping up on her mom. She loves practicing her stalking and pouncing on Mom, which provides us with lots of wonderful scenes. Ooh, we're going to make somebody's day here now. And we've got somebody called Carlos, who says that this is pre-recorded. If that was the case, we would be very clever to know that a man called Carlos was watching and was going to say that. Good to have you on board, Carlos. This is 100% live. Okay, so now that we've put Carlos's mind to rest, that this is in fact real and we are not telling lies, hopefully we'll be able to show you all this little cub. Tammy, you would like to know if the cub has got a name. And no, it doesn't have a name yet, but it will be getting one soon, and you all will be involved in helping to choose what name to give it. So I'm not too sure exactly when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen in the next week or so, I'm told. So we will name it. I think there's going to be possibly 3 options for you all to choose from, all Shangaan names. And we will be naming the cub earlier than they ordinarily... Let me just try and move forward a bit. I think we could get a slightly better view. We do name the cub slightly earlier than other people ordinarily would. And the reason for that is because we are slightly different to regular safari outfits that work in this area. And that is why we're going to name the cub early, because we spend so much time with these animals. Sorry, I'm just having to stand on my seat here to see where she is. You should actually be able to get a view of her from there, but at least she's sitting around in this area, so I'm confident that it is the fact that the cub is just kind of lurking nearby. There we've got a nice gap. Cynthia, you say you can't hear the calling and you'd like to know what it sounds like. It sounds something a little bit like this. Oh! Oh! That's my impersonation of it. I don't think I'm too far off. Now, there was another female leopard in this general area yesterday, and I'm hoping that this other female has not caused any harm to the young cub. Even though it's not highly likely, leopardess will fight ferociously with other leopardess over territories. So let's hope nothing's happened to the youngster. Okay, we're going to have to do some hustling and bustling here to try and keep up with her. She has slowly slunk off, but I'm confident that this cub is somewhere nearby and it's just not behaving itself and listening to Mama's calls. Okie dokie. So she was sitting somewhere just here, and she kind of headed further down in this direction we're heading in now, so I'm hoping we're going to be able to catch up with her. But as I'm sure you can see, it's quite thick. Carlos, you say, okay, I believe you now, and I'm glad that you stumbled upon us, Carlos, and it is hard to believe that we are coming to you live from the middle of the African wilderness, so I would have said exactly the same thing as you. At 3. Hey, Sense? 1 o'clock. Okay, Senzo's got a view of her. Let me just try and move again. Is she moving, Sense? Okay. Well done, Senzo. Okay, so we're going to have to do a bit of a loop here. Nikki, you say you hope the cub is safe. So do I. It's nerve-wracking stuff spending time with the leopards and their cubs, because sadly very often they do actually get killed. The success rates of leopards raising cubs is quite lower than you would expect, so it always is a bit of a concern of ours when we're not sure if they are in fact okay. Jeez, we're having to work for this morning. Helen, you say that I've got the best job in the world, and yes, on a day like today, it certainly is. I couldn't agree more. And it's wonderful to be able to share these moments with you guys live, because of course if we couldn't, it would be very lonely. Sue, you would like to know if the cub has had any interactions with other leopards, and yes, I'm certain it would have, but we haven't actually seen that happen. I'm fairly certain it would have met its father, and who knows which other leopards it may have come across. But yes, like I say, we have not seen any sightings of her with others. Now, I've interestingly just seen an antelope, a few of them, just in front of us here. And even though this leopard was looking for her cub, if she knows that there's an easy meal nearby, she may change tune, stop calling, and try and snipe one of them. It's an antelope called an inyala. Tricky to see there. You can see its ears twitching. And because it is so thick here, I think it just makes sense to stop for a second and make sure she's not trying to creep up on them. And also just be able to listen to her soft contact calls, which will help us pinpoint where in fact she is. Tricky thing is, like I said, if she has stopped calling and is now stalking these inyala, it will make it very, very tricky for us to see her, because she'll be doing her best to dissolve into the undergrowth. Where are you? Be careful, antelope. There is a leopard very nearby. I'm guessing they would have heard her contact calls and know that something's up as well. So they've probably got a bit of a warning already. What to do? Always a bit of a conundrum in situations like this. Whether to keep the vehicle still and listen, because you can listen to further than you can see, or to drive around and keep checking in case that leopard's still moving. Wazzy, you'd like to know how long will the leopardess look for its cub if something bad did happen to it and it maybe disappeared, so to speak. With this leopard's mother, actually, this is Thandi. Her mother was called Karula, and it was actually her birthday today, but she's sadly no longer around. She disappeared midway through last year. None of us know what happened to her. She lost one of her cubs in 2014 when I just started here, and it was killed by hyena. And she went back 24 hours later to where she saw that cub getting killed. They were moving together, so she knew full well what happened. It's not like she wasn't aware what happened. But she still went back 24 hours later to that very same spot and was calling desperately, just hoping, I guess, that it would come back to life, I guess, because she knew full well that it had been sniped by a hyena. They were moving through the bush together, and a hyena just came in, and within a few seconds, sadly, that cub was no longer. Thinking of moving a little bit because we haven't heard anything for a while now. And I'm worried that this leopard could have continued moving. Try and poke our nose in here to where Senzo last saw her moving off to. Oof. Sheesh, guys, as you can tell, it's incredibly thick here. think I'm going to have to do a kind of big loop around in an area where I can actually negotiate all this thick vegetation and try and see if we can't catch up with her. So we're going to say goodbye to all of you guys that have just joined us briefly. Sorry we didn't get to see Mom reunite with the cub, but we did have some epic visuals, and I guess that is the joy of being on a live safari. You simply do not know exactly what is going to happen, so best to be there live to see it all unfold as and when it does. Very good. We'll be sure to notify you guys if we do in fact find her and the cub a little bit later. Otherwise, you can just Google Safari Live if you would like to continue watching the safari. We've still got another hour and 20 minutes to go before we shut down this morning's Operation Magic. See you next time. Okay, very good, everyone. We are going to now send you across to Steve with the lions as we try and find out where Thandi has gone. We've got some exciting news, so you couldn't have come at a better time. It looks like we've just found tracks of Thandi and the youngster, some fresh tracks on top of elephant tracks, heading up this road to the same waterhole where Thandi actually just had a drink. So I think she must have reunited with the cub, and then... Oh, what's going on here? The tracks are now going back. What is happening? What is happening? Tracks are up and down here, and I'm battling to tell what we should do. But let's keep working this area. They could be around, and we're going to send you back to Steve and the lions with their little hors d'oeuvre. It's the same one. It's Thandi again. And I'm guessing the cub is somewhere here too. Both of their tracks were heading off in this direction. And well done to Senzo for spotting the trail where they actually headed off-road. Like I said, their tracks were up and down, backwards and forwards. And I'm just giving it some time because I think she would have actually seen me walking around on foot, trying to work out exactly where they went. And it was through the process of elimination that they didn't go in one direction that we decided to drive here. And then Senzo spotted her. But I think she would have calmed down now. So let's reposition and see if we can't get any views of the cub. Just always like to be a little bit cautious after they have spotted you on foot. They can feel possibly that you're trying to be sneaky and untowards. They're not as used to seeing us. Ooh, we're in luck. We found their kill. There's some nyama at the base of the tree. Nyama is meat in the local Bantu language. There, you can see it over there. Not too sure what it is. I'm not too sure where the little cublet is either. Now, I'm quite surprised Thandi took us in the direction she did, unless, I really just don't know what's going on here, because it's strange that she came to drink and then kind of headed off in the opposite direction to where we are here, and then came back with the cub. So possibly she's just made this kill while we've been looking for her. I don't know. Doesn't add up though, because she would probably be feeding on it if that was the case, and she was already full-bellied a bit earlier. Rick, this is the first time that you're joining us on a live safari. Welcome on board, and it's great to have you with us, and happy to hear that you're finding it very interesting. You've chosen a good day to join in for the fun, because we've had a lucky drive thus far. Okay. No, she is a little bit angry with us, probably because she spotted me walking around on foot, so she was giving one or two little hisses there. But something I've noticed with this leopard is that she will quite often, if we haven't seen her and the cub for a few days, the first time we do come across her again, she can be a little bit untowards, which is strange, that in just a few days she can kind of need to be broken in again, so to speak. Maybe it's also because it's getting extremely hot, so she's maybe a little bit hot and bothered. Wonderful. Sadly, no sign of the cub yet, but the cub's tracks were also heading here, so I'm sure it's not too far away. It's probably eaten itself into a coma and is sleeping in the shade. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And even though we can't see the cub now, I'm fairly confident if we come back here this evening, we're going to get a wonderful, wonderful sighting of them. Let's see if we can't work out what that kill is, because there's not too much to see there, other than your pretty face, Thandi. It'll be nice to work out how much of the meat is remaining. Soraya, you say that Thandi is looking a little bit concerned and focused. And yes, she is. Again, it could be due to the fact that I was walking around not far from where we are here, trying to establish where, in fact, her and her cub had gone. From where they took a kind of trail off the road. Just going to drive very slowly, because we don't know where the cub is. It could just be lounging around nearby to the meat. Whatever it is, it doesn't look like there's much of it. That much I can tell you. We should be getting a view shortly. Chris Rogue, you'd like to know if I remember Djuma, another male leopard who used to also be quite snarly. And yes, Chris Rogue, good to hear your name again. Haven't heard you for a while. I was wondering where you had disappeared to. So nice to hear from you. And yeah, I definitely remember him. And what was fascinating about that specific male leopard is that he had a brother who would have been raised alongside him. They would have had exactly the same interactions with humans as they grew up. Yet the one brother was quite snarly and almost shy. He would often try and slink off and shake the vehicle off him once we initially found him. Yet his brother was completely relaxed. Now, Senzo says you can see that it's a duiker. It's very difficult to see anything other than a little bit of kind of meat. And I'm not too sure how much is remaining, but it's simply too thick to be certain. But we know it's a duiker, so not a big antelope. Not too sure how much remains. Very good. We are going to send you off to Taylor with a dust-bathing elephant. Yeah, it seems like we were wrong. It's not a duiker kill. It's a baby Inyala by the looks of things. Shame, it's a tiny one. I can tell there's just a few little white stripes on the fur there, just to the left of the kind of rib cage. So and that kind of orangey, rusty color indicates to me that it's a baby Inyala. And there's still the kind of 4/4 head and neck remaining. So I'm confident they will still be here this evening. And I'm looking forward to coming back here and working out where the little cub has gone. Because it would be great to see the cub, and it's so frustrating. I mean, we know it's here somewhere. Its tracks were about 50 meters away from here, heading into this very direction. Yet we have no idea where it is hiding. Mom's just up ahead of us. Let's reposition a little bit so we can show her to you. She's not in the best mood this morning, old Thandi. Again, it could be attributed to the fact that she saw me walking around not too far from here, or it could just be that she's in one of those moods, you know, just like us. The wild animals have good days and they have bad days, and there's something that's causing it to be a little bit grumpier than normal today. Maybe, again, it's just the heat, coupled with her full belly. I And in this long grass, it's tricky business. Soapy, you say it looks like there's no flies today. Interestingly, earlier on we were getting molested by them, but it seems to have subsided for the time being. It kind of seems to be a little bit area specific with regards to the amount of flies, but I haven't noticed any one area always being a bad area for flies. It just kind of depends on the day. I'm really interested as to what happened here, because it just doesn't make sense that the killers here... Let me show you on my map. We pull out the old trusty map again to show you what's going on. Okay. So, when we found her, we were at Gwari Pan. And she came along the western side of Drakensberg Road up to Gwari Pan over there like that. She then headed back in that same direction, roughly, where we followed her off-road. And then we lost her. And then we kind of probably popped back out onto Drakensberg here, having checked in this general area where we thought she would have headed towards. And then we found her tracks going back up Drakensberg in a northerly direction with the cub, and then they veered off onto probably somewhere here, and now we are over here on the eastern side of Drakensberg Road. Yet, if she had have gone straight from this kill to the pan, why did she not just take the direct route? She knows her way around, and that's why the whole kind of scene this morning isn't adding up perfectly. So, yeah, confusing stuff, unless maybe they've got two kills. They had one kill elsewhere and another one here. But this is such a small kill that she would have taken it with her. So I hope that kind of better illustrates why it doesn't all make sense. We need to get some finer tipped pens. I find these whiteboard markers that we've got, they're a little bit too chunky for us to be precise. And all of the Safari Live presenters are real precise, people and artists as well. Okay, thank you, Jerry. Jerry is the individual who kindly arranged these maps and the pens for us, and she says she tried to get finer tipped pens, but in the little town that is close to us, they don't have the most elaborate stationery shops, understandably, because we're out in the middle of nowhere here. But that can be a little addition to our map kit. Fluffy the Bunny. You would like to know what color is the leopard's skin underneath the fur. And I'm not too sure. I've never plucked a leopard. But I'm guessing it's not going to be one shade. You'll probably find it's multiple different shades, and where you get the darker hairs growing out, you may also have little kind of patches of darkness on the skin as well. But yes, I'm not sure how we're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't know anyone that's shaved a leopard nor plucked one. But if anybody does know or have a picture of a sheared or plucked leopard, please do share it with us so we can see what their skin actually looks like. And while you guys search for any interesting skin of the leopard pictures, we're going to send you across to Steve for his thoughts on the matter. Yep, still here with Thandi. Sadly, not the best visuals, and I'm not expecting great things in the next 10 minutes, so we're probably going to head off and come back later this evening. And very good prospects. I would like all of you to phone a friend and tell them that this evening they have to log on to Safari Live, because Thandi is going to be out and about with her cub. Don't give us trouble again. She's been snarling and spitting a little bit this morning, if any of you have just tuned in. Thank you for proving me wrong, Thandi. I love it when you prove me wrong, especially when you're getting up and mobile when I expect you to be sleeping. Now, what may have happened is when I was off on foot checking around its general area for where her tracks went, she may have given the cub a bit of a warning call, saying, "Watch out, go and hide. I'll stay here." And Senzo says it does look like she is calling the cub. Let's reposition quickly. So maybe now that she's established that we are not, in fact, bad people and that we are safe, she may call the cub back out for us, which would be wonderful. Oh, I think I saw the cub jumping through the grass. Yay! We're in luck. And what a pleasant twist to the tale. Now, we are going to have to be patient because the grass is so much longer than the cub that it's difficult to see it, but it is there with Mom. And I'm sure we're going to get some good views now. Thandi's coming past the vehicle. Let's stay. Why don't you stay in that open gap there and wait for the cub to follow her sense? I'm sure the cub's going to take that same pathway that she took. Oh, there it's on the log. Nice. Well done. Hello, you little cutie. Woohoo! I haven't seen you for far too long, and I'm looking forward to seeing how big and strong you've got. Yeah. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. That's a spare tire you're looking at. The spare tire needs to stay on the hood of this vehicle because we've renovated the vehicle so that there can be a big box for the drone on the back. Okay. I've lost track of where they are. I've been crouched down looking at the monitor. Oh, here they are, here. Let's try and get into... I'm wondering if the cub's going to feed and where Mom's gone. Let's go back a bit. Actually, there's a little gap where we can maybe snipe a few more views of the cub while the going's good. Not ideal. David, you say the cub's getting a little bit shy. I don't think so. Again, it's probably due to the fact that in the last few minutes, its mom probably did give it a warning call saying, you know, run away. I'm not too sure what's going on here with these people walking around. And that's why the cub might be a little bit kind of on edge. And it's just long grass. A couple of factors that it's, you know, maybe hasn't seen a vehicle for a few days. Please be nice, Thandi. Susie, you've just said the lack of sleep is totally worth it. It's as soon as the camera turns and looks at her, she literally doesn't like the camera facing her. She was fine until that split second. But she'll calm down again now. And again, like I said a bit earlier, both her and the cub seem to get a little bit more nervous once they haven't been seen and spotted for a few days. And possibly that's why she's acting a little bit strangely. Come on, Thandi, there's lots of people that are very happy to see you and your child. Stop being so grumpy. And tell your baby child to jump on a log where we can see it. We've decided to leave the bundle of joy because the bundle of grumpiness in the form of the mom was getting a bit much. So we just thought rather than sticking around for an unnecessarily long period, because she was clearly not happy with us, we would leave her in peace. Just trying to check here. X-Ranga, you suggest that she's a highly competitive hide-and-seek player, and when she gets caught out, she's a sore loser. I like the way you think. Now, what I'm doing is, I'm just going to better position this branch. And and make a clear indication, because this road's a bit tricky to know exactly where to go off-road, and there is another vehicle that would like to come here a little bit later on. So I'm just making it simple for them to see where our tracks go on and off the road. Magical, guys. Well, it's been a wonderful, wonderful morning. And thanks again for all of your contributions and for joining us. Like I said, we expect you to all phone a friend and tell them that this evening Sunset Safari is going to be a cracker, and that they should come and join along. Very good. We'll see you later this afternoon. And don't forget, Brent will be back for the Sunset Safari.